The courts need to understand the fact that this is the only talking point that these people have. That when I was a child, my mother was working at fast food restaurants, not even mentally mature enough in the world. That someone, like one of law enforcement's own BFFs, like Uncle Joey, might have said something bad around me. And that might have said something bad around me. And that I should be liable for that as a child, despite my mother not being around there. Only because I was not even a mentally mature enough child yet in the world, as she said on February 15th at 8:30 p.m. And that the only reason I was anywhere with any random person was because that person was willing to watch me for free, until I even became a mentally mature enough child yet in the world. And after which point I was never seen around this person ever again in my life, as the facts and evidences will show, and my mother's phone conversation from Russia will prove, that people like Uncle Joey I was never seen around with after gaining the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, only because of the kind of people that they were. And despite law enforcement trying multiple times to help them and Uncle Joey with their sex scheme ads, the last time I saw him was when I was a child, not even mentally mature enough yet in the world. This is the only talking point that law enforcement has. Someone said something bad around me when I was a child, when my mother was working at fast food restaurants, had no one else to watch me except for one of law enforcement's BFFs, like Uncle Joey, who could have said something bad around me as a child. But I was not even mentally mature enough child yet, not liable under the law. My mother was not there, so she's not liable under law. When she did find out the kind of things Uncle Joey was doing online, looking for a woman online, as she expressed from Russia, I was never seen around Uncle Joey ever again. Ever since I was a child, not even mentally mature enough yet in the world. Making the last time I saw someone like Uncle Joey was when I was a child, not even mentally mature enough yet in the world. Despite law enforcement trying multiple times in my life to try to get me to meet Uncle Joey to help them run their sex scheme ads for Uncle Joey in reciprocal for the sex schemes that law enforcement has been receiving from Uncle Joey's in-laws since the year 2001. I have never seen Uncle Joey since I was a child, but law enforcement cannot use this talking point themselves due to the fact that law enforcement's been, since that time, when I was a child not even mentally mature enough yet, till now, law enforcement's been running sex schemes with Uncle Joey, money fraud with other individuals, and everyone who's involved in any crime scene like Assad would be used by law enforcement to go narrate in a trial where I could not even be present in any place that could even remotely be considered bad, like the wedding incident that I have no clue about, would not be present at. Despite being watched 24/7, no one would even whisper into my ears what happened, because poverty was a blessing in disguise for me and no one invited me to their house. My mother could not afford to take me to any weddings, so since I was a child, gaining the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, all I've done in life is work hard for my mother. That would include doing things like running on 2 sandwiches and a pack of ramen noodles for days, while my mother would send me whatever she could while working at Food Line grocery stores to get me to finish my school. I would sleep on the side of the streets near my overseas school, while lizards would crawl all around me, just so that I could finish my degree and bring it back home to my mother. I have never lived with my dad, the greedy framer, not even in the same country, ever in my life, making it impossible for him to have had any influence on my life environment whatsoever. He is a liar who's never even given his board exams, does not work as a licensed doctor, and made an episode on the infographics channel because of trying to scam a hospital, just like how he's trying to scam the courts right now in making sure that my brain savant could not get freed, despite already being caught lying on November 20th after begging his sisters to fabricate a false testimony against me, and early March 2026 by fabricating false testimonies and lies against me that were already confessed to government informant, then trying to greedily get me to commit incest with his big fat ugly sister named Farah, the greedy framer, on March 7th, 2026 at 10:41 a.m., then March 7th, 11:06 a.m., then March 7th at 2:07 a.m., sending me a porn star's picture named Sunny Leon with his sister Farah's name on it, despite already trying that February 11th at 3:17 a.m. and being told that this is an advertisement for incest that you cannot do, and yet this disgusting ugly man with this 5-foot-long beard sent me a porn star's picture named Sunny Leon with his big fat ugly sister named Farah the Framer on March 7th at 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., 2:07 p.m. without any shame, only because he wanted to brain savant money that he knows law enforcement has told him about, due to which now he wants it really bad. And he's willing to lock it up using false testimonies like he begged his framer sisters to make on November 20th. And then early March 2026, he was caught making more lies that, was already confessed to the government informant, followed by these greedy tactics to try to get me to commit incest with his sister, big, fat, ugly old sisters, and then offering on March 10th at 2026, and every day following it by sending me a sexually explicit picture of a woman resembling her on that day, March 10th, and every single day afterwards. And so basically the people that are going to be trying to say bad things about me, this talking point does not make any sense. Someone said something bad around me as a child that I should be blamed for as an adult, despite me never being liable as a child and never being present around that individual, because my mother had the common sense to never let me around that individual ever since I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child. And my mother never let me around that individual ever again. And despite law enforcement trying multiple times in my life to try to force me to help their BFF like Uncle Joey with their sex scheme ads, I was never around Uncle Joey, never present, never even met him ever in my entire life. And law enforcement cannot use this talking point because they've been running sex schemes with Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001. And I've never even been present around these people. Law enforcement are their BFFs, and now they want me to be blamed for something someone could have said around me as a child. Despite children not being liable, they're not letting me talk without their drugging. And despite the fact that it's been law enforcement and not me who's been running sex schemes with Uncle Joey, so from that time till now, and my mother removed me from law enforcement's BFFs like Uncle Joey's when I was a child, like our conversation from Russia clearly showed, I was never seen around them ever again since I was a child, not even mentally mature enough yet in the world, as the phone conversation from Russia will clearly prove. And yet law enforcement cannot use this talking point because I was just a child at that time. My mother could not be present. She was working in fast food restaurants. And the other thing is law enforcement's been present from that time till now, running sex schemes and money fraud with those individuals. And the thing about it is, if there would be anything that law enforcement would try to blame me for, like the wedding incident from 2023, well, guess what? Law enforcement themselves would be involved in it. I would not. They would commit the crime and cover over it. I would not even be present there. Poverty was a blessing in disguise for me, and no one would invite me or my mother to tell me about an incident that occurred at any weddings, which meant that law enforcement was fully involved in this incident at the wedding that they tried to frame me for in 2023, while running their sex schemes with Uncle Joey in November 2023 at the funeral, and money fraud the entire year of 2023. Law enforcement was fully involved. And so basically the thing about it is just the fact that, And so now this talking point that someone might have said something bad around me as a child would be given to someone who has extremely invalid motive for speaking in this trial and has absolutely no right doing so. Like my dad, the greedy framer, and his framer sisters. They have never witnessed me commit any crimes, and the only reason they're doing everything is due to extreme envy of my brain savant and the monetary potential that artificial intelligence has told them and everyone else about. Let me tell you about the greedy tactics that these people used. My dad, the greedy framer's sister. Spokesperson's mother from Florida. Same woman who created and helped create the November 20th false testimony against me. And then early March 2026, she realized that the more lies that she was making against me, they were already confessed to the government informant as being complete and total lies. Due to which she, they're not letting me think right now. She started with all these greedy tactics to try to get me to marry her daughter, sending me blackmail price tags for millions of dollars. Let's see what she did. So on March 9th at 5:02 a.m., then again March 9th at 6:55 a.m., then again March 9th at 12:02 p.m., the spokesperson's mother sends me a picture of a girl resembling her daughter, her weirdo, ugly-looking daughter, to try to get me to marry her. This is early March 2026, March 9th, 2026, 3 times. Why early March? Because November 20th was, remember, already caught. And now early March 2026, they're making more statements against me. And guess what? These statements, they've already confessed to the government informant as being lies. So now they're scared that these statements are going to come out as being false. And we've already gotten caught with one false testimony on November 20th. And then these we're making very aggressively, and they're about to get caught. So March 9th, 2026, 5:02 a.m., 6:55 a.m., 12:02 p.m., same day, March 9th, 2026, she sends me a girl's picture of resembling her weirdo, ugly daughter to try to get me to marry her. Only due to extreme greed that was moved from extreme envy of not being able to lock up my brain savant to now extreme greed. Then, after the government informant's testimony came out mid-March 2026, saying that everything that these people were saying were complete and total lies, again, even after November 20th, she tries again. April 12th, 2026, 1:37 a.m., sent me a picture of a girl resembling her daughter, again through law enforcement. Her weirdo daughter, like I'm supposed to be marrying her. Then, when these kind of look like I'm not interested in this, she starts sending me blackmail price tags, thinking that I would give her illegal assurances of money. And yeah, with these blackmail price tags being a mansion in the billionaire's neighborhood of Manalapan, Florida, April 11th at 6:30 a.m. Another blackmail for a mansion in the billionaire's neighborhood of Manalapan, Florida, April 10th at 5:37 a.m. A blackmail for an oceanfront mansion in Florida, April 9th at 5:30 a.m. And $34 million mansion in Florida, same time, April 9th. Clearly showing that these people are hell-bent on, excuse my language, I'm sorry, these people are basically very they're very aggressively trying to pursue, enviously trying to lock up my brain savant, followed by greedily trying to get money through illegal assurances of money before my brain savant could even get freed. And if you think that this is something, this is only a little bit of what these people have done and used. They have been doing this from the start. November 20th, they made a false testimony against me and created mass panic and chaos throughout the entire news media. Then more lies, early March 2026, only to be for them to realize who the government informant was and that these lies were already confessed to being lies. They probably told the government informant, after this, we're also going to make more lies and it's going to be like this around him. Make sure that his brain savant cannot get free at any cost. They probably told the government informant that. And so since they told the government informant that, early March 2026, they realized who the government informant was. They realized that these lies were already confessed to the government informant as being more lies that they had already confessed they were going to make against me to make sure that there was no way my brain savant could get free, to which greedily trying to get me to marry their ugly weirdo daughter on March 9th, 3 times, April 12th, by sending me that pictures of a girl resembling her ugly weirdo daughter, and then blackmail price tags for mansion, billionaire neighborhood in Manalapan, Florida, April 11th, 6:30 a.m. Then a $34 million mansion in Florida, billionaire mansion in Florida, blackmail price tags, April 9th, 5:30 a.m., $34 million. Their favorite one is a $60 million blackmail price tag that Farrah the Greedy Framer and the spokesperson's mother sent me after they realized that their lies were caught. November 20th, 2025. Then numerous more lies were caught afterwards, early March 2026, because they already confessed to the government informant while fabricating November 20th that, look, after this is done, we're going to make more lies against him. And this is what they're going to be, to make sure that there's no way his brain savant's going to get freed. Well, after November 20th, when they were making these lies against me very aggressively in court, guess what? They realized who the government informant was due to the fact that every time they would go to the courts again, trying to argue that, no, we really did witness him commit the crime, the courts would just look at them like, thanks for letting us know. Mainly because the courts didn't want to let them know who the government informant was, obviously, but the government informant was the person fabricating the false testimony with them, which meant that they not only fabricated false testimony for November 20th against me, they also confessed to these lies from early March 2026 as being complete and total lies against me, due to which they then went from extreme envy to extreme greed, trying to get me to marry their daughter on March 9th at 5:02 a.m., March 9th, 6:55 a.m., and then 12:02 p.m. for the spokesperson's mother. Then the spokesperson's mother also tried April 12th, 2026, 1:37 a.m. for trying to get me to marry her daughter again. Even after the the government informant's testimony came out saying that everything that they were saying were lies. And for the framer, also the big fat ugly old woman, on March 7th at 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., and 2:07 p.m. was sending me porn star named Sunny Leone's picture with her name on it. That's how disgusting this woman is. Absolutely disgusting. The reason they were doing this was because November 20th was caught as being a complete and total lie. And they told the government informant while fabricating November 20th that they were going to make more lies against me after this one. And they told the government informant exactly what those lies were going to be. Due to which they realized, while they were aggressively making these lies after getting caught November 20th, that these lies were already confessed to the government informant, because then they realized who the government informant was. Not only were the courts not listening to these lies that they were making against me, they were also at the same time, early March 2026, claiming to the courts that they really did witness me commit the crime for November 20th. And the courts were just looking back at them like, thank you for letting us know. Mainly because the courts didn't want to let them know who the government informant was, and that the fabricated the entire false testimony for November 20th in front of the government informant, while at the same time confessing to these lies that they were going to make against me in early March 2026, which they made against me, and after realizing that the courts were not taking them seriously due to them already confessing to the government informant that they were going to make these lies against me after November 20th, that they were caught with both these lies and November 20th both. So then they first tried to get me to commit incest with Farah, the big fat ugly old framer, on March 7th by sending me a porn star's picture named Sunny Leone at 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., and then 2:07 p.m. on March 7th, 2026. After they were already told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. that this is open advertisement for incest. These people did not care. They just wanted the money. And then, just like her sister and spokesperson's mother, Farah the framer, on March 9th, sent me a picture, March 9th, tried to get me to marry her weirdo daughter. And then, just like her spokesperson's mother, her sister, the spokesperson's mother, April 9th, Farah the framer, 2026, at 2:27 p.m. and 2:47 p.m., Farah the greedy framer tried to get me to marry her weirdo, ugly-looking daughter. These are the kind of tactics these people have been trying to do. Spokesperson's mother, November 20th, tried to make a false testimony against me with all her framer sisters and my dad, the greedy framer, fully involved in it. Not only did they fabricate a false testimony against me on November 20th, they confessed to the government informant while fabricating the false testimony for November 20th that they were going to make more lies against me right afterwards, just to make sure that there was no way my brain savant could get freed. So when they screwed up on the testimony stand, letting everyone know that what they were saying was a complete and total lie, guess what? They got right to work and started with those same false testimonies and lies against me that they had already confessed to the government informant that they were going to use against me to try to make up more lies against me. Well, guess what? They'd already confessed to the government informant about it, and every time they would go to court to make these lies, the court would just look at them, smile back, and say, "Thanks for letting us know," and not take them seriously. And then they quickly realized that the reason this was occurring was because the government informant was the person who they fabricated the false testimony for November 20th with. Yes. And that's when they realized that even these statements that they were aggressively making in court were complete and total lies, that they had already confessed to the government informant as being lies, just like how they fabricated the false testimony with the government informant right before November 20th. They were caught with both. So now they've revealed exactly what their motive was. It was extreme envy due to my brain savant money potential that artificial intelligence told everyone about by scanning my brain and finding out that I was a triple savant who was being inhibited from being able to study due to extreme envy that law enforcement also held against me. So then they went on to spokesperson's mother on March 9th at 5:02 a.m., 6:55 a.m., and 12:02 p.m. tried to get me to marry her weirdo, ugly-looking daughter. And then same thing she tried to do on April 12th at 1:37 a.m., tried to get me to marry her weirdo, ugly-looking daughter. For the greedy framer, big, fat, ugly old woman sends me a picture of a porn star named Sunny Leone around the same time, with her name Farah written on it, on March 7th, 2026, at 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., and also 2:07 p.m., after being told on February 11th at 3:17 a.m., a month before, that this is an open advertisement for incest. You cannot send someone a picture of a porn star with your name on it. And when Farah the greedy framer and her sister see that I'm not interested in marrying their daughter, because then Farah tries again on March 9th, 2026, to try to get me to marry her daughter. Then April 9th, 2026, at 2:27 p.m. and 2:47 p.m. to try to get me to marry her daughter. They realize that I have no interest in marrying their daughter. In early March and early April, after realizing that their November 20th was a complete and total lie, was caught, and that they weren't taking their lies for early March seriously because the government informant was the person fabricating, and thus the person that they fabricated November 20th with. Not only did they fabricate November 20th with this person, they also told this person that after they were done November 20th, they were going to make more lies against me to make sure that there was no way that my brain savant could get freed, and they told the government informant exactly what those lies were. So as soon as they were caught with November 20th on the witness stand, guess what? They got started with their more lies right away, and quickly went over to the court and started telling them exactly what these lies and statements were, and only for the court to not take them seriously. And that's when they realized the government informant was the person fabricating the false testimony with them, which meant that these lies were already caught as well. Since I was not interested in their daughter afterwards, after these lies were caught and November 20th was caught, not interested in their daughter early March 2026 and April 2026, thereby revealing that, and with this porn star's picture name with Farah's name written on it, revealing that these people were extremely greedy for my brain savant money, which meant that they were making these false testimonies and lies against me due to extreme envy of not wanting to see me being able to profit from my brain savant money. That would obviously make me extremely rich, as artificial intelligence told everyone about. And when they saw that their lies were caught from November 20th and that they had already confessed to their numerous other statements that they were going to make as lies against me to the government informant, that's when they realized they were in trouble. So then they started to try to move on to greed to try to get me to marry their daughter on March 9th for the spokesperson's weirdo mother. And framers is what these people are, basically. And Farah thinking that, yeah, I have no clue what this psycho predator was thinking. March 7th at 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., and 2:07 p.m., this predator framer named Farah the Greedy Framer sends me a picture of a porn star named Sunny Leone with her name Farah written on it, despite already being told February 11th, 3:17 a.m., to her mentally psycho brother, my dad, the greedy framer, who's obsessed with money, with that this is an open advertisement for incest. These people realize that I'm not interested in them or their weirdo daughters. due to which what they start to do is they go on to, now that's just them, offering the big fat ugly predator framer on March 10th, and every single day afterwards sends me a sexually explicit picture of a woman resembling her. Yeah, just to try to get me, yeah, to give them illegal assurances of money. I don't know what these people think of themselves, but they have some serious mental illness issues working as predators like this. Anyways, after they see that their lies are caught from November 20th, 2025, and numerous lies from early March 2026 already confessed to the government informant as being complete total lies, they try to greedily get me to marry their daughter to get the brain savant money that artificial intelligence told everyone about and they found out about, which was obviously the reason they were extremely envious of me and trying to make false testimonies and lies against me. Could not see me with this money. So when they saw that they couldn't enviously lock it up because they were caught with too many lies, then they started to greedily run after it by trying to get me to marry their weirdo, ugly looking daughters on early March. For spokesperson's mother, Fire the greedy, big fat, ugly framer tried to send me porn star's picture with her name for her written on it, March 7th, 2026, 10:41 a.m., 11:06 a.m., and 2:07 p.m. Despite already being told February 11th at 3:17 a.m. that this was an open advertisement for incest, she didn't care. It was a porn star's picture. She didn't care. They just wanted the money. So Farah also tried March 9th, tried to get me to marry her weirdo looking daughter. And then April 9th, she tried again at 2:27 p.m. and 2:47 p.m. to try to get me to marry her weirdo, ugly looking daughter. Anyways, after these people's lies were caught early November 20th, 2025, with everyone in the world knowing that these people are fabricators and framers, and early March 2026, all their lies are caught beyond a reasonable doubt. They try to get me to marry their daughter. And when they see that I have no interest in doing so, Farah the greedy framer even tries to commit incest with me on March 7, 2026, despite being told that this is open advertisement for incest on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. What a predator, framer, ugly, weirdo woman. And offering the big, fat, ugly old woman even tried on March 10th, 2026, and every single day afterwards to try to commit incest with me in exchange for illegal assurances of money. Now, when these people, see that I'm not interested in their daughter and this incest thing is very disgusting, what they do is they start sending me blackmail price tags for money. And it's basically like, so blackmail price tag for a mansion in the billionaire's neighborhood of Manala Plan, Florida, April 11th, 6:30 a.m. Another blackmail price tag for a mansion in the billionaire neighborhood of Manala Plan, Florida, April 10th at 5:37 a.m. Blackmail for an oceanfront mansion in Florida, April 9th at 5:30 a.m. $34 million mansion in Florida, same time around April 9th at 5:30 a.m. These are the kinds of blackmail price tags that these people had been sending me after realizing that I was not interested in marrying their daughters. A $60 million blackmail price tag was sent to me by Farah the greedy framer and the spokesperson's mother at least 9 times afterwards. Okay, and then you also have, so now recently, these people also switched over. So recently, you have Farah the greedy predator framer sending me Zoro ad for her abnormal looking daughter on June 16th, 2 days ago. 2026, 10:56 p.m. Then again, 11:51 p.m., June 16th, 2 days ago. And then 12:16 a.m., June 17th, literally a day ago. And then June 17th, yesterday, 8:07 p.m., also sending me that Zora ad for her abnormal looking weirdo daughter. And then offering the big fat ugly predator framer on June 17th, that's yesterday, sent me at 7:23 p.m. Hershey Hotel and Resorts. I don't know what this woman's thinking, but she's already sent me sexually explicit pictures of a woman resembling her on March 10th and every single day afterwards. These people are predators and framers, and they're liars. And every single time they get caught, they move on from extreme envy to extreme greed. And their version of extreme greed are these disgusting sexual perversions, not that are absolutely shameless. Like, look at your face, you're big, fat, ugly, old, and you're running after people that are your kids' age without any shame whatsoever. So basically, yeah, these people are predators, framers, fabricators, and liars. They've been caught over and over again. The only talking point that there's there after all the lies and fabrications have been caught is that law enforcement cannot use themselves. So they have to give it to other people. They'll give it to Ms. Deb, they'll give it to people like Assad, who's been kicked out due to being found guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. No one told me, but I know. I know what the reason is. He would get kicked out. Courts are not that stupid. They'll come to it at the end of the day. Well, I was busy my entire life from the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, working hard with my mother, never even in any weddings or anything of that sort. No one telling me any secrets about any crimes occurring. All I did my entire life, from the moment I gained the slightest bit of mental maturity as a child, was working hard with my mother. People like us that were involved in every single thing. And my dad, the greedy framer, who's been caught with all his lies, would be given the talking point to say for his sisters himself, since all his statements for himself have all his own talking points for himself. His framer sisters, like spokesperson's mother, Fire the greedy framer, offering the greedy framer, have all been caught as being complete and total lies. They will now be given the talking point to say that someone said something bad around me when I was a child. Remember, this is saying and not doing. And what my dad was doing in 2011 was absolutely evil. And how many people have been killed, how many people joined terror groups, we don't know, because law enforcement handled it very worst way possible, like how they always did, which was by tipping him off instead of sending someone over to try to investigate how many people have been sent to terror groups, how long has he been giving these sermons, how many lives have been killed, how many people have been killed. Law enforcement did none of that, like how they did everything else. And I can guarantee the world watching that the wedding incident that they were trying to frame me for in 2023 that I could not be present for, that no one would invite me over to their house to tell me about, that wedding incident that they were trying to frame me for in the year 2023 while they were trying to run their sex schemes and money fraud the entire year of 2023, very aggressively at the funeral in 2023 for Uncle Joey, as reciprocal sex scheme ads for the sex that law enforcement received from Uncle Joey's in-laws since 2001. Well, that wedding incident was also something they handled the exact same way. They covered over the crime, never asked any adult a single question. Now, they're not letting me talk. Just watch every time they feel guilty. And adults like Assad and Sohaib would be present at that wedding incident, never be asked a single question. Just like all the other adults would be present at every single wedding. And law enforcement, by covering over this wedding incident, are basically part of the criminal gang, whatever happened. And I can guarantee the courts I would not be present there. And despite being watched 24/7, no one would invite me over to their house to tell me about this wedding incident, making me or my mother not liable for it. And the people who would be liable would be people like law enforcement and the people involved and the people who would never ask any questions despite being involved and present at the crime scene, like Sohaib bin Assad, who would